Hi and welcome to Outdoors with Richard, and thank you for joining me for this video. So today we're taking a look at the Hilleberg Niak. Now this tent is a true 3-season, 2-person tent that can be used most of the year and in most weathers. But should you buy this tent? Let's take a closer look, starting with a component breakdown. If you purchase this tent, everything you get comes in a really nice drawstring storage bag. The length of the storage bag comes in at around 46 centimeters. The width comes in at around 14 centimeters. When it comes to the packed weights, so the storage bag, the tent, the poles, the pegs, everything you get when you purchase this tent comes in at around 1.8 kilograms. However, that doesn't include the footprint. If you add a footprint to the packed weight, you'll add an extra 238 grams on average. You then get your tent. Now the inner tent is already connected to the outer fly, so it makes this an outer pitch first tent. All your guy lines come already attached to the tent. You then get a 10-pole storage bag which houses 2 DAC 9mm aluminium poles. It also houses 1 DAC 9mm aluminium repair pole. You then get a ground peg storage bag which houses 10 DAC Y ground pegs. Now when it comes to pitching this tent, I'm not going to show you how to pitch this tent because Hilleberg have their own video on how to pitch this tent, and it is by far the best and clearest video on how to pitch this tent correctly. So what I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description below to that video. Moving on to first impressions, I think this is a great looking tent. If you purchase this tent, it comes in a choice of 3 colors. I've gone for it in a red, but it does come in a sand and a dark green. Now this tent is a outer pitch first, which is great because if it is raining, at least you know your inner tent is not going to get wet. It is a dome tent, so dome tents perform really well in rain and snow. If it rains, you won't get any pooling of water on your tent. It'll simply just run straight off. And when it comes to snow loading, the snow will just simply slide straight off. Now this tent is really easy to pitch. It is a freestanding tent, so you can move it around, and you can pitch this tent virtually anywhere. It does have a nice vestibule on the front here, which we will take a closer look at in a minute. But let's take a closer look at the outer fly, the fabric of this tent. Now when it comes to the fabric of this tent, it's made from a Curlon 1000, which is a 20 denier high tenacity ripstop nylon. It has a hydrostatic head rating of 5,000 millimeters, so more than waterproof. The outer fly has also been silicone coated 3 times, twice on the outside and 1 on the inside, and this is just to ensure that this tent stays completely waterproof. It has also been treated for UV resistance. Now when it comes to this tent, it is a 3-season tent, so if you have a look at the front and on the sides, you can see the outer fly doesn't completely go to the ground. If it did, then it'd be classed as a 4-season, but having the sides that don't quite go to the bottom, it's going to let a nice bit of air flow in, which in turn will reduce condensation. All right, now before we have a good look at the vestibule, on the outside here, just covering the zip, you have a really nice storm flap. Now all the zips on this tent are made by YKK, which are anti-snag zips. And in all the years I've used Hilleberg tents, I've never had a zip catch on a fabric or actually get jammed. So fantastic zips. Right, now when it comes to the outer door, you've got a few options. You can undo the main zip and then just roll the side back and toggle it up and leave that side down, or you could leave this side down, roll that side back and toggle it up, or you can just open both doors out and toggle them up. So you've got a nice big entrance to the tent. Right, let's take a closer look at the vestibule. Now, when it comes to the vestibule, I've rolled back one of the sides. Now, the width of the vestibule, come in and have a look. The width at the widest part is around 65 centimeters. However, the angle of the outer floor does come down quite steep, so you can cook in there, but you will have to just be a little bit mindful. But as far as storage goes, there is plenty of room to put all your bits and bobs in there. Now, if you're not happy to cook in this little vestibule, you could open both doors up and you could put a tarp over the top of the tent, and that's going to give you more than enough room to sit and to cook in. Having a look at the internal fabric of this tent, the inner tent is made from a 10 denier ripstop nylon. It has also been treated with a water repellent. Not that water is going to come through the outer floor of the tent, but if you were to open the outer doors and some water did come in, at least you know the water is not going to go through the inner tent and directly into your tent. Now, when it comes to the bathtub floor, that is made from a 50 denier nylon. It has a hydrostatic head rating of 12,000 millimeters, so more than waterproof. Also, all the seams in the tent have been tape sealed, so there's no water getting into this tent. The bathtub floor has also been polyurethane coated twice. It is highly puncture and abrasion resistant. So, as I say, no water is going to get into the floor of this tent. Now, looking at the inner door here, you don't have another back panel to the inner door. It is just one mesh door, but I have to say this mesh is really good. I mean, it's mesh, but it's like solid at the same time. So although it'll let air in, you can't actually see the holes directly in the mesh. So it really is a very, very good mesh. Now, you do have two zips, one to go around the top and one to go around the bottom, and then this inner door will simply just roll and be toggled right back. Right, I'm going to open up the whole of this tent so we can have a look inside and have a look at the measurements. So, as you can see, I've rolled back the outer doors and I've rolled back the inner doors, giving you a really nice size entrance. Right, let's take a closer look at the internal space. Now, when it comes to the internal size, the length of this tent comes in at 220 centimeters. When it comes to the width, it's exactly the same both ends, and that is 120 centimeters. The height comes in at 100 centimeters, which is great, especially for taller people. I'm 6'2", and whether I'm sat directly on the floor of this tent or on a 3 or a 4 season sleep system, my head does not touch the ceiling of this tent. I would go so far as to say if you were 6'3" or 6'3½", your head will not touch the ceiling of this tent. Inside the tent, you get 3 storage pockets. You get a storage pocket down the one end, and then on the inside over here, you get another couple of storage pockets. You also get 4 little nylon loops, so you could thread a little line through to hang a bit of damp clothing on, or you can use them just to hang a camping lamp on. But that's the inside of the tent. It's a decent sized tent. It is classed as a 2-person tent. For me, it wouldn't really work for 2 people. It would definitely be a bit of a squeeze. What I would say, it would be a palace for 1 person, or 1 adult and a child, or 1 adult and their dog, I think would work perfectly. But for 2 people, can be done, but it would be a little bit of a squeeze. Right, let me give you my final thoughts on this, the Hilleberg Niak. When it comes to my final thoughts on this tent, I really like this tent. I think it's a great looking tent. It's light, it's easy to pitch. Size wise, I think it's a good size. Definitely a palace for 1. For 2 people, a bit of a squeeze, I think, but ideal for 1 person and a child, or 1 person and their dog. I think that works really, really well. Height wise, a nice bit of height in this tent, so ideal for taller people. when it comes to the condensation in this tent, I never really have got much condensation in this tent. There always seems to be a nice bit of airflow coming into this tent. To be honest, whatever tent you get or you have, you will always get condensation. It's just a part of camping. But as I say, in this particular tent, I've never really had a lot of condensation. Now, this tent is classed as a 3-season tent. To be honest, for me, I think you could class it as a 3/4-season tent. You could use this tent in the spring, the summer, the autumn, and I would say the early part of winter. I know people that use this tent nearly all year round and they've never had a problem. Now, if you are taking this out when the weather is getting that little bit more challenging, you do have the option of buying a second set of the deck poles and double poling, or you could just buy the deck 10mm pole. You could also upgrade your ground pegs, and believe me, this tent will perform absolutely fine without any issues. Even with the standard pegs and poles that come with this tent, it will perform better in bad weather than most people will actually go out and camp in. So don't think because it's a 3-season tent that this tent won't perform. Now, when it comes to the price of this tent, this is the part that a lot of people will think, wow, that is expensive. This tent here in the UK currently sells for £969.99, and that doesn't include the footprint. If you want the footprint, it'll cost you an extra £84.99, taking your total cost to, if my maths is correct, £1,054.98, which is a lot of money. But in saying that, this is a high-end 3-season tent with high-end specs, so it is going to come with a high-end price tag. I would say that if you are looking for a 4-season tent for that kind of money, you probably would get a more for your money. But in saying that, I think there's a lot of people that buy 4-season tents, and they're a complete overkill for what they need them for. And they would be better suited to a 3-season tent. Maybe not this tent, but a 3-season tent nevertheless. But let me know what you think. Do you think this Hilleberg Niak is worth the money? Do you think it's too much money? Or perhaps you own a different Hilleberg. Let me know what you think of your Hilleberg or the Hilleberg brand in general. But on that note, I'm going to say, if you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you're enjoying the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Get involved in the comment section below. But until next time, thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.